Hey guys! So in this video you and I are going to talk about Git. Git. And we are going to talk about why it is absolutely vital that you learn this tool. And so yeah, let's get into it. So Git, what is Git? Git is a version control system. What's a version control system? Well, basically that's a fancy way of saying it is something that allows you to save your code, or more specifically your files, because Git is actually, although it's a tool that is very common in the development world, there are actually designers who use it for their artboards, their different Sketch or Photoshop files and so forth. It can work on any file whatsoever. And the idea of Git is basically that you, throughout a project, will have a repository of files that you may change over time. And through Git, you have an ability to change things and then save those changes so that you create a tree of, think of it as a timeline of all the changes from start to where you currently are. So you can at any point in time go back to wherever you want within that time frame or in that timeline. And this is extremely important and extremely powerful. It also allows you to start forking off things from, or create what's called a branch, basically. So think of it as you will have a master branch where all of your functional application code lives. Now, not necessarily functional, but all the stuff that is actually shipped to your users. And let's say then, for the sake of argument, that you and me, we're going to work together. You and me, we're going to be colleagues. And I say, all right, I'm going to work on feature A. And then you say, yeah, sure, I'll work on feature B. So what we do is that we create our own branches, and we start working on a copy, basically, of the master branch. And when you and I are done working on our feature, we merge that back into the master branch and handle any resulting conflicts if we change the same file or whatever. That's in general the way that you will work as part of a development team with Git. And why am I hyping Git so much? I'm hyping Git so much because I want to say that it's an industry standard, because it practically is. There are companies out there who use something, the really old companies might use Subversion, or some people will use Mercurial, but Git is, at least from my experience, the most popular version control system that there is. And I suggest as a beginner, or if for whatever reason, if you don't know Git, you should learn it. It is that important. I would say that it is so important for you to learn Git that I would not, honest to God, you can get a job without knowing Git, but I highly encourage you. This is one of these things that you should start as quickly as possible with Git. Unfortunately, Git is not necessarily the most user-friendly or beginner-friendly thing in the world, and I'm sorry to say that, but it is the tool of choice for everyone. And there are great learning resources for learning Git. There are tons of stuff that you can use in order to get comfortable with it. And don't feel stressed if you don't get it at first, because it is a complicated topic. It's a very big and powerful tool, but for the most part, you're going to have some base commands that you're going to use 99% of the time, and most of the more advanced stuff you're not even going to touch. I mean, I don't know everything about Git. I know enough to be able to work with it, and that's where you should be. You should be as well. You should aim to understand enough. And sooner rather than later, I would say that if you know how to write code, learn Git. As soon as you can produce software, doesn't matter what language, doesn't matter if you're front-end, back-end, DevOps, whatever you want to call yourself, when you can write software, you need to learn Git immediately. Get yourself a GitHub account or Bitbucket if that's your flavor, or some other. I basically use only those two. And start practicing with Git, because I can guarantee you that it's going to be something that you're going to use at every single job you have. That's how important Git is. Yeah, that's basically it. Now, hopefully you will find it fairly accessible. Hopefully you will find it fairly easy to use. If not, it is understandable. Don't stress, as I said earlier, don't stress out about it. Just learn enough so that you can save code, create a branch, pull changes, these sort of things. These are the bare bone basics. Start with that and you're going to be fine. And learn it as quickly as possible. And this is one of those things that, I've said in a few other videos that, some stuff you should learn on the job. This is not one of those things. This is something you can absolutely go and learn right now. And if you don't know it and you want to be a software developer, a professional software developer, you should learn it right now, like immediately. That's how important it is. I'm not overselling this at all. It is extremely important that you know Git, or as I said, you could in theory go with Mercurial or some other version control system, but Git is probably the most standardized and widely spread. So hopefully I have convinced you to at least have a look at it. And I can only speak from my own experience that in the beginning, it's a little bit of a learning curve. But once you get it, you can't live without it. It is such a natural way of my everyday job to use it that you don't even think about it. It's like breathing. And you'll get there. It may not feel that way in the beginning, but trust me, you will get there. Hopefully this was useful to you. Have a great day.